Most people think slower recovery is just part of getting older. What if they're wrong? If you're over 60, there's a good chance you've noticed something frustrating. It isn't necessarily weakness, it isn't necessarily pain, it's recovery. The fact that your body doesn't seem to bounce back the way it once did. A long walk leaves you tired for longer. A workout takes days to recover from. Most people assume that's simply what aging looks like. And to some extent, aging does play a role. But what if that's only part of the story? What if slower recovery isn't just about getting older? Researchers are now discovering that the systems responsible for recovery may work very differently after 60. And when those systems become less efficient, the effects can show up almost everywhere. Your energy, your strength, your mobility, your balance, and your ability to stay active and independent. In fact, many of the changes people blame on aging may actually begin with something much more specific: the body's declining ability to repair, adapt, and recover. Today, I'm going to show you why recovery changes as we age, what may be happening behind the scenes, the warning signs many people overlook, and the simple habits that may help your body recover more effectively after 60. So why does recovery seem to change so much after 60? Most people assume the answer is simple: I'm getting older. And while age certainly plays a role, that explanation may not tell the whole story. Because recovery isn't controlled by a single system. It's the result of multiple systems working together behind the scenes: your muscles, your immune system, your circulation, your hormones, your nervous system, and your body's ability to repair damaged tissue. When you're younger, these systems tend to work efficiently. A workout, a long walk, a busy day. Your body responds, repairs, and prepares itself for the next challenge. But as we age, those repair systems don't always respond the same way they once did, and that's where many people begin noticing the difference. Not because they suddenly become weak, not because something is seriously wrong, but because the body may need more time to do the same work it once did effortlessly. Think about a small cut on your hand. When you're young, healing often happens quickly. As the years pass, that same process may take longer. The body can still heal. But the speed and efficiency of that healing process may gradually change over time. And that's important, because recovery doesn't just affect how you feel after exercise. It affects how you experience everyday life. A long afternoon with the family, a day spent gardening, a weekend trip, an active morning running errands. Things that once felt routine may begin requiring more recovery than they used to. And when recovery becomes less efficient, the effects often begin appearing in places people don't immediately connect to recovery at all. That's why recovery matters so much after 60. Not because it determines how fast you can return to exercise, but because it influences how fully you're able to participate in daily life. Which raises an important question. What exactly changes inside the body that makes recovery more difficult after 60? So what exactly changes inside the body that makes recovery more difficult after 60? The answer begins with something many people never think about. Recovery isn't a single process. It's hundreds of small repair processes happening throughout the body every day. Repairing muscle, restoring energy, helping tissues recover from the normal wear and tear of daily life. Researchers now believe that several important biological changes begin occurring as we age. Muscle repair may become less efficient. The immune system may take longer to resolve stress and inflammation. Blood flow may become less effective at delivering oxygen and nutrients where they're needed. And the body may become less responsive to some of the signals that help coordinate recovery. None of these changes happen overnight, and none of them mean the body stops working. But together, they may gradually make recovery more demanding than it once was. Think of it like maintaining a house. When everything is working properly, small repairs happen quickly. A loose hinge gets fixed, a cracked tile gets replaced. A problem is addressed before it becomes something larger. But if repairs begin taking longer, Small problems can start accumulating faster than they're resolved, and eventually, the entire house becomes harder to maintain. Researchers believe something similar may happen inside the body as we age, not because the body loses its ability to recover, but because the systems responsible for recovery may need more time and support to do their job. And one of the most important systems involved in that process may surprise many people, because it isn't found in your muscles. It's found in something that influences recovery throughout the entire body, your immune system. So what does your immune system have to do with recovery? Quite a lot, actually. Most people think of the immune system as something that only matters when you're sick, when you catch a virus, develop an infection, or come down with a cold. But the immune system does much more than fight illness. It's also deeply involved in the body's repair process. Every time you exercise, take a long walk, work in the garden, or place any kind of physical demand on your body, small amounts of stress and damage naturally occur. That's normal. In fact, that's part of how the body becomes stronger. The immune system helps coordinate the response. It helps clear damaged tissue, supports repair, and helps the body return to balance. When we're younger, that process is often remarkably efficient. The body responds, repairs, recovers, and prepares itself for the next challenge. But researchers now believe that the immune system may gradually change as we age. Instead of switching on and off as efficiently as it once did, it may remain slightly more active than necessary. Not enough to send clear warning signals, not enough to attract attention, but enough to influence how efficiently the body recovers. Think back to the idea of maintaining a house. If the repair crew is constantly managing small background problems, there may be fewer resources available for the larger repairs that actually matter. Researchers believe something similar may happen inside the body, because when the immune system spends more time managing low-level inflammation, it may have fewer resources available for repair and recovery. That doesn't mean recovery becomes impossible. Far from it. People can remain strong, active, and healthy well into their 70s, 80s, and beyond. But it may help explain why the body sometimes needs more time to bounce back than it once did, why soreness may last longer, why fatigue may linger, why a busy day may require more recovery than it once did. And the effects of that change often begin appearing in one place before almost anywhere else: your energy levels. Why do energy levels often change before anything else? Because recovery requires energy. More than most people realize, every repair process happening inside your body, repairing muscle, supporting the immune system, replacing damaged cells, depends on energy. When recovery systems are working efficiently, most people never think about this. They simply wake up feeling rested, recover from activity, and move on with their day. But when recovery becomes more demanding, the body's energy needs may increase as well, and that's where many people begin noticing the difference. Not necessarily because they're sick, not necessarily because something is seriously wrong, but because the body may be working harder behind the scenes than it once did. And that's an important distinction, because many people assume low energy is the problem, when in reality, it may be a signal, a clue that the body is spending more time and resources on repair and recovery than it once did. At first, the changes may seem subtle. You feel slightly more tired after a busy day. A workout leaves you drained for longer. An afternoon of activity requires more recovery than it once did. Most people assume this is simply what aging feels like. And again, age does play a role. But researchers now believe recovery itself may be part of the explanation, because the more resources the body needs for repair, the fewer resources may be available for everything else. And over time, that difference can become easier to notice, not just in how much energy you have, but in how willing you are to stay active and engaged in daily life. That's why energy is often one of the first warning signs people notice when recovery becomes less efficient, not because energy is the problem itself, but because it's often one of the first places the body reveals that something behind the scenes may be changing. And for many people, the next place those changes begin appearing is even more noticeable, because it affects something people rely on every single day: their physical strength. Why does physical strength often change as recovery becomes more difficult? Because strength depends on recovery, more than most people realize. Most people think strength is built during activity, during exercise, during walking, during physical work. But that's only part of the story. The real adaptation happens afterward, during recovery. That's when the body repairs tissue, rebuilds muscle, and prepares itself for future demands. When recovery systems are working efficiently, the body is often able to keep up with those demands. People remain active, capable, and physically resilient. But when recovery becomes less efficient, maintaining strength may become more challenging as well. Not because the body suddenly becomes weak, not because strength disappears overnight, but because the processes responsible for maintaining physical capacity may no longer work as efficiently as they once did. At first, the changes may seem minor. Carrying groceries feels slightly more demanding. Getting up from a low chair requires more effort. Climbing stairs leaves your legs more fatigued than before. Most people assume these changes are simply part of getting older. And age certainly plays a role. But researchers now believe recovery may also be part of the explanation. Because strength isn't just about the muscles themselves, it's about the body's ability to repair, adapt, and maintain those muscles over time. And when that process becomes less efficient, small losses can gradually begin adding up, not just in the gym, but in everyday life, in the activities people rely on most, the ability to lift, carry, and walk confidently. And over time, strength affects something many people rarely think about until it begins to change: confidence. Confidence in your balance, confidence in your mobility, confidence in your ability to do things on your own. Because when people feel physically capable, they tend to stay active, stay engaged, and continue participating in the activities they enjoy. That's why many researchers view strength as more than a fitness issue. They see it as one of the foundations of healthy aging. And when recovery begins affecting strength, the next thing many people notice isn't just how their body feels, it's how much they're able to do. Because recovery doesn't only influence strength, it may also influence something even more important: your ability to remain physically independent. Why does physical independence matter so much as we get older? Because independence is what allows people to continue living life on their own terms. It's the ability to get up and go where you want, handle daily responsibilities, spend time with family, enjoy hobbies, travel, remain active in your community, and continue making your own choices without relying on others for help. Most people rarely think about independence when they're younger, because it's easy to take for granted. But after 60, many of the things that support independence become increasingly important: strength, balance, energy, mobility, and the ability to recover from physical demands. That's why recovery matters far beyond exercise, far beyond fitness, far beyond physical performance. Because every time recovery becomes more difficult, the body may become slightly less prepared for the next challenge: a long day, a busy week, a minor illness, a physically demanding task. Most of the time, these changes happen gradually. So gradually that people often don't notice them at first. They simply adapt. They avoid certain activities, take fewer walks, turn down invitations, spend less time doing the things they once enjoyed, ask for help more often than they used to. Not because they want to, but because certain things no longer feel as easy as they once did. And that's what makes these changes so important. Because the real loss isn't just physical capacity, it's opportunity. The opportunity to go where you want, do what you enjoy, and participate fully in the life you've built. That's why researchers are paying so much attention to recovery. Because recovery doesn't only affect how quickly the body bounces back, It may influence how long people are able to remain active, capable, and independent. And that's a goal almost everyone shares, not just living longer, but continuing to live well and continuing to do the things that matter most. Which brings us to the encouraging part of this story. Because while some changes in recovery are a normal part of aging, researchers also believe there are simple habits that may help support the body's ability to recover more effectively over time. So, what can you actually do to help support recovery after 60? The encouraging news is that many of the same habits associated with healthy aging are also the habits researchers associate with better recovery. And most of them are far simpler than people imagine. The first is staying physically active, not because exercise eliminates every challenge associated with aging, but because movement helps maintain many of the systems recovery depends on: your muscles, your circulation, your balance, and your ability to remain physically capable. The second is prioritizing sleep, because recovery doesn't only happen when you're awake. Some of the body's most important repair processes occur while you sleep. And consistently, poor sleep may make recovery more difficult over time. The third is paying attention to nutrition, not by searching for miracle foods or extreme diets, but by giving the body the nutrients it needs to repair and maintain itself. Protein, fruits and vegetables, fiber-rich foods, and the overall eating patterns researchers consistently associate with healthy aging. The fourth is avoiding the trap of doing too little, because recovery improves when the body is challenged appropriately, not overwhelmed, but not ignored either. Many people respond to slower recovery by becoming less active, but over time, doing less often leads to even less capacity. And that's the cycle researchers hope people can avoid. What's important to understand is that none of these habits work in isolation. They work together, just like the systems inside the body work together. And that's why recovery is rarely improved by one miracle solution. It's usually supported by small actions repeated consistently over time. The goal isn't perfection. It's maintaining the systems that help you stay active, capable, and independent. Because every walk, every good night's sleep, every nutritious meal, and every healthy habit practiced consistently is an investment in the body's ability to recover. And that's one of the most valuable investments people can make as they age. Because recovery isn't just about bouncing back. It's about preserving the strength, energy, confidence, and independence that allow you to continue living life on your own terms. And perhaps most importantly, it's a reminder that while aging may be inevitable, how we age is something we may have more influence over than most people realize. As we've seen today, recovery is about far more than how quickly you bounce back after physical activity. It's connected to your energy, your strength, your confidence, and your ability to remain active, capable, and independent as you age. And perhaps that's the most important thing to remember. Slower recovery doesn't automatically mean something is wrong, and it certainly doesn't mean your best years are behind you. But it may be your body's way of reminding you that recovery deserves attention, because the ability to repair, adapt, and recover is one of the foundations of healthy aging. The good news is that many of the habits associated with better recovery are the same habits associated with living well after 60. Staying active, prioritizing sleep, eating well, and continuing to challenge yourself in ways that support your physical and mental health, not because these habits stop aging, but because they may help support the systems that allow you to remain strong, capable, and resilient for years to come. And perhaps the most encouraging part of all is that recovery is not something you either have or don't have. It's something you can continue supporting every day with movement, with rest, with good nutrition, and with the small choices that help your body keep doing what it was designed to do: repair, adapt, and recover. And ultimately, that's what healthy aging is really about. Not simply living longer, but remaining capable enough to enjoy the years ahead. Because the goal isn't just to live longer, It's to remain strong enough to enjoy the years ahead, to keep moving, to keep participating, to keep doing the things that make life meaningful. So I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you've noticed about recovery as you've gotten older? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, be sure to subscribe to The Aging Code. Every week, we explore the hidden biological processes that influence how we age and what you can do to stay strong, active, and independent for as long as possible. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video